This is If My People Bible reading. We're in part 76 of the book of Numbers and chapter 22 is where we're starting. Several things are changing in Numbers and need to kind of understand it. Remember that Hebrew and Hebraic Yahweh is circular. He does things in circular motions, and he doesn't always go back to the exact same place. He just keeps going in a circular motion because he's so patient. He's patient with you. He circles back to what he wants you to do and wants you to hear and wants you to obey. And if you don't do it, he kind of circles around again. He doesn't go back to the same space. So he's not two-dimensional. He's three-dimensional. He's kind of like a slinky. Slinky is circular, but it just continues on, goes down through the line, becomes slinky-like. He's not, he doesn't speak in Greek type thought that most of us in Western society understand linear thought. We start at A and we go to Z, alpha and omega. We go from one end to the other, and then we have all these things in between that happen. That's how U.S. history has taught us. So to kind of let you understand that the whole book of Numbers is, we start off with numbers, numeration, that's why it's called Numbers, and order. And inside of that is the encampment and service and what takes place. From there, it goes to, switches to, it circles around to laws and events. So then we go through some more laws and more events, what happens if you do and what happens if you don't. Then we go back to journeys in order. So we go numeration and order, laws and events, then back to journeys in order again. And there's the marching. They go from one campsite to the next. Things happen at each campsite, and each name of each campsite, in Hebrew, by the way, that's on your own time. Very interesting what the names of these places are, and then what happens at the campsite that kind of circles around, like Sukkot. People in the faith of Hebrew roots, they have fall festivals every year. That's an appointed time. That is a never-ending Torah command, and that is wonderful about what they do. That observance. It's in the fall, and usually falls 14 days after the equinox. So it usually is about the first week of October. From journeys in order, it goes to events, back to events and laws again. So there's the events. It goes order, events, and then we go to order again, numeration, inheritances, what everybody inherits. And then it goes back to events and laws. It kind of gives you a break from one and then goes to the other, and then it ends with the journey and the order and the division of the land. So that's the whole book of Numbers in about a paragraph or two. Whoops. But what I want you to also understand is now we're getting into chapter 22, and it's about Balaam. Now he's like an oracle type person, a seer, and you're thinking, is he a godly person? Is he a person of Yah? Well, the answer is he's a godly person. Is he a person of Yah? No. No, it's a big difference. You got to remember, this world has, right now, counting India, you always got to count India, hundreds of thousands of gods. 300,000 in India alone. In the United States, there's thousands of gods. Credit cards, debt, houses, greed, gambling, prostitution, drugs, that's all gods. If you spend time with them instead of spend time with the Father, it's a god. And you pray to it. It's a god. So Balaam is, he's a diviner. And he gives you Torah when he wants to. He's like a hired preacher for sale. He'll say whatever it is to keep his congregation going. Money. Keep the money going. If he says things to Israel, he's trying to get something out of that. If he's making deals with Moab and the other surrounding areas, and they're giving him Monday. Who is that? King Balak of Moab. He was getting probably supported one way or another, or he was asking money, or he was being offered money to say one thing or another to go after Israel. Um, and he was smart enough to know not to do it, but he was deceivious. That's the worst kind of people. Just today, the preachers, ministers are some of the best, and they could be the worst people for you. They can stay in a parish, a church for their entire life and keep everybody just sound asleep with stories and 5-minute moments with the children every Sunday, and then the Sunday school, and then you get to hear about the prodigal son at least 100 times, and then you give to some favorite charities, and then you remember all the holidays of the year, and you have Mother's Day and a special time for that, and you hand out little trinkets, and then you have Father's Day and Memorial Day and Veterans Day and July the 4th and Easter bunnies and Christmas and Santa Claus and then you talk about the misfit toys. Remember those cartoons? Um, those people are the worst because they're doing no good whatsoever with the congregation. Keep the congregation active so that when something goes terribly wrong with your nation, they stand up. But currently, our country is you hear nothing from the mainline institutional churches. You hear nothing about your total violation of the right to assemble. It's okay to pick up a stick and go beat people, and nobody does anything about it. It's okay. But no, we can't meet in church and pray and hold each other's hands. Or when the flu season is going around, you shouldn't be holding hands anyway. It's common sense. But when the government steps in and tells you to do something, the Bible says this: hear and obey your government, but not if they're violating Yah's government, Yah's Torah, Yah's commands, his personal relationship with his people. That is not obeying the government. You can disobey the government when it's you're not going to go out and tear things up. But it's funny, you can go tear things up, and that's okay. So, having said that, this is Numbers, and this is Balaam. This is the story about the animal that could speak. And do I think he could speak? I sure do. Yeah, I do know that. It's not impossible to believe it all. So I don't have a problem with anything in that little story there. Towards the very end, you really start understanding this. What happens in Numbers in 22 as we go through is that Balaam uses trickery and deceit to give the people of that area an opportunity to get the Israelites. And they get them, and the reason I bring this up, this part of it in Numbers, is exactly what's going on today. If you want to destroy the American economy, if you want to destroy the Western economy, Britain, France, Germany, anywhere that even has some capitalism and some democracy and some socialism, like we have Social Security, that's socialism, okay? We wouldn't have to have any Social Security or Medicare in the United States if the churches would stand up for what they're supposed to be doing to begin with, okay? Okay? Instead of these building projects by the hundreds of billions of dollars a year going into debt, banking type businesses. No, we have socialism in this country because the churches, the institutionalized churches, they are the ones that encourage that. Absolutely. And so, that's why I talked the story of Balaam. It's the same thing. Balaam let the people know in the area to get rid of the Israelites, go after them for their morals, their values, use women, enticing drugs, I'm sure, and sexual immorality. And that's exactly what they did, because right after that, you know, there's Balaam spoke some truth. He spoke some truth coming up in 23, 24, 25 to the kings of the area about the Israelites, and he spoke to those other kings first about the bad things that's going to happen to them and the things that did happen to them that Israelite nailed them on. But at the same time, he went after Israel and he let them be attacked. And so as a result of that, Yahweh went after him, not the kings. Yahweh did. Yahweh went after them and gave them a severe lashing with the idol worship and messing around with the other women and mixing and mingling, which they're not supposed to do. And Yahweh gave them enough to destroy them, again, to teach them a lesson. He had to whittle them down a little bit. That's what Numbers is, in and out and in and out. And is it something that goes on today? Yes, it is. Like right now, we're in a situation of just the whole world is sitting there because somebody, somewhere, decided, and those somebodies are the government organizations. They have things ready to go, and worldwide organizations that manage the financial end of it, who are they're antichrists. That's who they are. They can put a name like George Soros and other people like that, Bill Gates and others. It doesn't matter about who they are, what kind of money they have, and those running Amazon and those running the mega organizations, they make so much money. Just like Balaam's involved in this, he makes so much money, but no, he wants more. So you're wondering, why would the whole world go after people who own restaurants and small mom and pop stores that sell stuff that, they make a pretty good living, but not great living? Because they want it all. They want a warehouse somewhere in the world, and everything you have comes out of the warehouse and sends it to you on time. And everybody else is a slave, a driver, and delivery. They don't own anything. There's no middle class. There's only super, 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 super rich. So are the Democrats right about that? Oh yeah, they're 100% right. But they're part of it too. And they love it. They want to eliminate, in my opinion, from what I've seen, starting since 1920s, and I mean, historically, just President Wilson was the only president that allowed the gigantic organization of the Ku Klux Klan to march down Pennsylvania Boulevard in Washington, D.C. in a huge parade celebrating their white power. That happened, and actually it's on video. You can see it because there was movies being made in those days. You can see them marching down the street. They look cartoonish, but they're not. It's real. And that stuff has never gone away. So the other 99.9% of the Caucasus population, are they in on this? No. But we're all suffering as a result of it. And that's one race and one race. There's another 255 to go. As I said, there's 257, not 5, not black, not white, 257. What's up with the rest of them? The same thing that we're going on in the book of Numbers. You've got to stand up and hear and obey the Father. That's what you have to do. So that's the book of Numbers. Joshua, son of Nun, incredible man through this. Moses is no longer there. Going to be there when he finally takes them to the promised land. But there's always good people somewhere in the world that Yahweh can pull up when he needs them. Like during the times of Elijah, there were another 5,000 in the background. Okay? See you at the next reading. Blessings. Hang in there. We'll get through this.